TCI Channel 63 presents the TCI Sports High School Basketball Game of the Week.
From Ferndale High School, it's the Berkley Bears and the Ferndale Eagles. Hello everyone, I'm Joe Abramson. We've got an SMA matchup tonight that really doesn't have anything to do with the league title, but is important for both teams as they prepare for the state tournament starting next week. Berkley's had kind of a disappointing season, ranked in the state in the top 20 at the beginning of the season, and injuries have just killed them all season. The two key players for them are probably James Shorters, number 21, who's already had 2 knee operations during the season, and Eric Vandereyk, their best player, who was doing fine until their last game when he sprained an ankle right at the end, and we're not sure if he's going to play at this moment. For Ferndale, you got to look at number 54, Jarrett Stevens, the best sophomore player in the state according to most of the experts. He's going to have to carry the Ferndale Eagles if they want to pull this upset and get themselves on a roll going into the state playoffs. We'll be right back with the tip-off after this.
How can you change a child's life? As easily as you can fill an empty glass. Around our world, children's lives are empty. Little children are struggling every day with hunger. All they need is some nourishing food. Little children are suffering and dying each day from sickness. All they need is the chance to see a doctor. Little children are growing up trapped in hopeless poverty, just like the poverty that still traps their parents. What they need is the opportunity to go to school. When you become a Child Reach sponsor, you help fill a needy child's life, not with handouts, but with self-help programs that change the child's and the family's future. In return, you find your own life a little fuller, too. Please call for details.
And back at Ferndale, and starting lineups are being introduced, and a good sign for the Berkley Bears, Eric Vandereyk did come out with the starters. There was a question on that depending on how his ankle responded during the warm-ups, and apparently he's going to give it a shot. You see the current records right now, Berkley at 5-8 in the league, 10-8 overall. Ferndale 4-9, 7-11 overall. Neither team in contention for the title. Both trying to get ready for the postseason. Ferndale maybe even more just looking to next year because they're such a young team, as you see the Ferndale huddle and Coach Don McNeil. Berkley, on the other hand, picked in the top 10 by some so-called experts in the preseason, and in the top 25 by everybody in the entire state. Hasn't lived up to that billing primarily because they haven't had their complete complement of players in any game yet this year. James Shorters, as we mentioned earlier, has had a couple of knee operations this season. He's going to start tonight. And there you see the starting lineups. Kevin Dayton, the sophomore, maybe their most consistent player. Eric Vandereyk, one of the top three-point shooters in Oakland County. You have McLean, guards, Freed, and Shorters on Ferndale. Stevens, Ballard, Jones, Hoppy, and Hermes. Hoppy, a good outside shooter. Jarrett Stevens, as we mentioned, the top sophomore player in the state of Michigan and the top player overall in Oakland County, according to the Oakland Press. As you see, Steve Rhodes, head coach of Berkley. Been kind of a tough year for him coming into the season. I know he thought he probably had the best team that he's had in his years at Berkley. It hasn't worked out that way, but they may be coming together at the right time as the districts come up if Eric Vandereyk can get over this ankle sprain. There you see James Shorters, who has had the 2 knee operations. Good outside shooter, got a lot of quickness, can go to the hole. They're going to need him to have a big game tonight and to make up for the limitations that Vandereyk has. And there's Jarrett Stevens, number 54. His brother, of course, Dwayne Stevens, the Michigan State star. And there's the tip, and it goes to Dayton, and he's going to hand it off to Freed, the junior captain of this team. Not often you see a junior as a captain of a high school varsity team. He gets it over to Shorters on the wing. He goes up top to Vandereyk. Back to Freed. He's looking inside. Nothing there. Goes back up to Shorters. Now Freed's got an open 3. Doesn't take it. Dayton pump fakes in the lane. Loses it. Knocked out of bounds. Well, now they're going to say it went off Dayton. The Ferndale player knocked it off his knee, apparently. And we have a turnover on the first possession of the game. Turnovers have been one of the big weaknesses for Berkley this year. That and inconsistent shooting by the team as a whole. And coming right back, the very same thing goes Berkley's way. James Shoulders knocks it off Hoppy's leg and out of bounds, and once again it's Berkley's ball, and they'll inbound underneath the basket. Van der Eyck to inbound the ball. He looks underneath, nothing there, goes back out to Shoulders, who takes it up to Freed. Now to Van der Eyck, he's going to fire up a three, testing his ankle right now, and his legs got under the shot, he got it there, just went off the back of the rim and over the backboard, out of bounds. Ferndale ball, and Berkley's going to come out with a press again, this time to get it to Hoppy over the middle, and he's going to go down to Jones with Dayton on him. Off the glass and no, and the long rebound comes out to Dayton. He's going to bring it up and get it to Freed in the middle. Now to Shoulders, he's going to try to drive, spin move in the lane, and good, and the foul. Not bad for a guy who's had a couple of knee operations this year. James Shoulders, a senior, take a look at this spin move. Right on two men, and foul looks like it was on number 32, Amar Hermiz. And Shoulders gets the 2 points, the 6'6" senior guard, and he's going to try to convert it into a three-point play. Can't get the free throw to go. The rebound comes to Jeremy McLean, and he turns and puts the hook in, and now it's 4-0 Berkley. Jeremy McLean is one of the better football players in the SMA this year, doing a fine job at center for the basketball team. Jones has the ball now out on the wing. He's going to go up top to Hoppy. He's got Van der Eyck on him, picks up the dribble back to Jones. They're going to try to post up Ballard. They're going to get a foul called on Freed underneath. That was number 24, Ryan Freed. Got him from behind. Just a little too much hand checking there, as you see. Right there. Now they inbound to Ballard. He goes off the glass with Shoulders all over him, and he gets the 2 to go. 4-2 Berkley. Ferndale puts on a press. Freed with the ball. Hermiz on him. He gets it across the timeline to Van der Eyck, over to McLean. Now Van der Eyck's going to get it back up top to Freed, over to Shoulders, thinks about the three, goes baseline, fires up the shot, no, but gets hammered inside the key, and he'll go back to the line. And that's definitely been something that they missed early in the years. You'll see him think about the three, take it inside. When a guy can get in that quickly, you can't help but foul him, and get the first foul on Jarrett Stevens in the first 2 minutes of the game. You see junior guard Ryan Freed going over to talk to Coach Rhodes. The Shoulders fires up the first of 2 free throws, gets this one to go. It's now 5-2 Berkley. There's the second. In and out, rebound to Stevens. They're going to try to break right off this miss. Van der Eyck deflects the pass, though, and Freed comes up with it. Over to Shoulders. This one's blocked, picked up by Stevens. He's going to lead the break up to Hoppy. He's got Hermiz on the weak side, gets it to him with Van der Eyck all over him, and he drops it out of bounds. And so far, turnovers have been the story for both teams tonight. Ferndale once again with the press. Freed's going to inbound it to Shoulders, get it back to Freed. With the same press, Hermiz on Freed. Goes over the top to Shoulders, gets it across the timeline. Now he's got Van der Eyck open for the three. Once again, it's in and out. This time the rebound comes to Hoppy. Gets the ball back and brings it up the floor. Gets it over to Stevens, thinks about the three. Give and go to Hoppy. Turned over, Dayton's got the ball. He's trying to run the break with McLean in front of him. Decides to pull up, get it back to Freed just before the over and back violation. Now Van der Eyck goes down low to McLean. Up top to Shoulders, over to Freed, drives. Nothing there, pulls up for the 16-footer off the back of the rim, and no, Hermes with the rebound. He brings it up the floor, looking for Stevens down low. He's not there, gets to Hoppy instead. Back up to Hermes for the triple try. Rebound to McLean. Freed now trying to force the fast break to Dayton. He pulls up. Now he's going to try to penetrate, get it over to McLean. Now to Van der Eyck for another three-point try, and decides not to take it. Dayton in the key, underneath to McLean, off the glass, and good. Good passing by the Berkley Bears, able to get McLean open underneath for a layup, pulling the defense out. Got Reggie Ballard turning the ball over in the key to Shoulders. He almost loses it to Hoppy and gets it back finally. Finally had to, well, they're not going to call a foul. They're going to call the the travel on shoulders, and that's Berkley's second turnover. Ferndale already with 5. Now we're going to see number 11, James Gatewood, come in for Sean Hoppy. Gatewood, a senior guard. And Dwayne Jones inbound the ball for the Eagles. Goes up top to Hermes with Friedel over him. He takes it inside the key, gets it back out to Jones. He fires up the three-point try off the back of the glass. No, Fried with the long rebound. Fried gets it up to Dayton. Back to Fried up top, now in the wing to Vandereyk, down low to Dayton. Turnaround post move off the front of the rim, no good. This time it's Ballard with the rebound. Over to Hermes, he's gonna try to run it. Both teams come out in the man-to-man defense tonight. Hermes is trapped, now he goes to Stevens. Good turnaround move underneath the Ballard, knocked away by Vandereyk into Dayton's hands. He gets it to shoulders. He decides to pull up the break, and they're gonna set up their offense once again. Goes over to Fried, he's got McLean open on the post. Instead goes up top to Vandereyk, over to shoulders. Down low to Dayton, turns around on Ballard. Jump hook, no. Ballard with the rebound, outlet to Hermes. And Ferndale brings the ball up and sets up in their offense. Hermes tries to penetrate, gets it off to Ballard. He wasn't ready for that one. There's another Ferndale turnover. That's 6 already tonight. And now Berkley's going to come up with a couple of substitutions. Number 14, Craig Rhodes. Number 20, Dwight Barksdale. Ferndale counters with number 23, Rashad Phillips, a freshman who we saw against Troy have quite an impact. Craig Rhodes is Steve Rhodes' son, usually a starter for them, and he hasn't been healthy yet this year, or lately anyway. Their normal starting center, by the way, Fred Rice, out with the flu tonight. So the injury bug, the flu bug, anything that can happen to affect the team negatively seems to be happening to Berkley. Now Rodney Eddy in the game, number 30. A freshman just called up recently to the varsity. He's got the ball now. He goes back over to Rhodes. Back over to Eddy. Now to Vandereyk, looking for the give and go. It's not there. They get it to Dayton. Back over to Eddy. Up top to number 52, Eric Bishop, who's just come on. Dayton with the ball over to Rhodes. Running a little bit of a weave, a lot of motion in this offense. Haven't been able to get an open shot yet. Rhodes now has it. Back over to Bishop. To Dayton, to Rhodes. Vandereyk with an open three. And they're going to call it a 2. He had his right toe on the line. 9-2 Berkley. And Ferndale turns over on the inbound pass. With 2 minutes and 52 seconds left in the first quarter, Ferndale has still scored just one basket. Eddy inbounds to Dayton. He's got Stevens on him. Takes him baseline off the glass. No good, but Jarrett Stevens has picked up his second foul. Now Coach McLean's going to have something to think about. His team hasn't been able to get anything going yet, and now his best player is already in foul trouble. That's going to send Kevin Dayton to the free throw line, and that's going to bring number 34, Sean Burnside, off the bench for Ferndale. They're going to sit Jarrett Stevens down for the rest of the first quarter in all likelihood. Kevin Dayton, a sophomore. Coach McLean from Ferndale said before the game he thinks he's actually their most consistent player, and he's a player that they're definitely concerned about. Averaging 11.7 points per game this season. Not too many highs, not too many lows, just a solid performer throughout the year. See a couple of future Ferndale Eagles at the game. It's Dayton got both free throws, and the Berkley pressure applied once again. Results in yet another turnover. Now Rhodes gets it baseline, goes up and under. No good this time. Rebound by Dwayne Jones up to Phillips. He's going to run the break. Gets it to Burnside. He pulls up for the long jump shot off the front of the rim. No good. Bishop with the rebound. He gets it to Vandereyk. And now into Eddy's hands, and he's going to run it. 2:27 left in the first quarter. Score Berkley 11, Ferndale 2. Eddy takes it all the way to the baseline over to Rhodes. Pulls up for the 16-footer off the front of the rim. No, Dayton with the rebound off the glass. Can't get it to fall. Burnside tries to with a long rebound. Instead to Dwayne Jones for Ferndale. He's going to run the break. He's going to get an offensive foul, running Eric Vandereyk over. I'm sorry. That was one of those cases where Jones left a little too early, and that is the 10th turnover already for Ferndale. And you see number 55, Jeremy McLean, back into the game along with Shorters. And number 10, Chris Charette, in for the first time for Berkley. Rhodes with the ball, pulls up for the 17-foot jump shot. That was pretty easy. Now it's 13-2, Berkley. And Phillips breaks the pressure and brings it up the floor, trying to force something. Gets right around McLean, off the glass and good. And the little freshman, just like in the Troy game, comes out and provides a spark. This guy is only, I believe, 5'3", 105 pounds. Shorters with the ball, back up to Freed, over to Charette. Back to Freed now. Shorters on the left wing, tries to go baseline. He's going to get the offensive foul. Good defense by number 21, Tom Henderson. Got himself in position and took the charge. And they're going to rush Kevin Dayton back into the game for Berkley and sit Craig Rhodes down. Burnside to inbound for Ferndale with pressure applied by Berkley once again. Every time they inbound, Berkley's there with the press. Burnside now has it up top. He tries to penetrate, goes underneath. Off the glass, no, by Carlos Griffin. And a putback by number 21, Tom Henderson. Berkley breaks the Ferndale press, getting it up to Dayton. Back over to Charette, now to Freed. Shorter is open for the three-point try. He fires it up off, in and out. No, Dayton with the rebound. Turnaround gun off the backboard. Comes up with his own rebound, back up top to Freed. Dayton goes underneath to McLean. Couldn't believe he was that open. He gets his second easy layup of the night. Berkley 15, Ferndale 6. 44 seconds left in the first quarter. Burnside being guarded tightly by Dayton. Gets over to Phillips. He's got Henderson trying to post up Shorters. Instead, he goes to Carlos Griffin, who takes it inside and loses the ball out of bounds, and that's 11 turnovers. All right, here you see Carlos Griffin with the pump fake on McLean. He takes it right into traffic, and Shorters knocks it off of him. They just haven't been able to get anything inside. Now with 26 seconds left in the quarter, Berkley will probably try to play for the last shot. Of course, they're going to have to get it over before 10 seconds. The shot, Phillips comes up with the steal. Goes lefty off the glass, can't get it. Rebound comes out to number 22, Schaffner. Tries to get the pass and turns it over, but Freed comes up with the ball and double dribbles. And with 10.3 seconds left, Ferndale will get the opportunity to play for the last shot. Last time we saw Ferndale against Troy, Jarrett Stevens came up with 20 points. Right now, he's sitting on the bench scoreless and with 2 fouls here in the first quarter. Shad Phillips is going to fire up the three with 5 seconds left. Doesn't get anything, and Berkley still got 3.6 seconds left to try to get a shot up of their own. Number 10, Mike Thomas, is going to come in for the last couple of seconds here for Ferndale. Charette's going to fire up the half-court shot at the buzzer. Comes up a couple of feet short, and that's the end of the first quarter. And the score, the Berkley Bears 15, the Ferndale Eagles 6. And Ferndale's going to have to come up with something to get their offense going. Haven't been able to get the ball inside yet, haven't been able to get to the free throw line. Let's go down and hear what Coach McLean has to say to his troops.
He's still trying to penetrate. Yeah, let's get the ball on the wing, don't penetrate. All right, and right now defense, we got to go two back to that matchup zone. Yes, 2 to the matchup. All out. Now let's go all out. Come on, man.
Join our heroes, Brad and Pat, at Nocturnal Fest in Pontiac on Roadshow Video. It's following tonight's game at 9 p.m. on Channel 63. And look for the Roadshow Video album in record stores near you. Field goal shooting in the first quarter. Berkley 6 for 18 for 33%. Not a great percentage, but they were able to get the boards. Ferndale only 3 for 10, 30%. They just kept turning the ball over, which was their big Achilles heel. Burnside now has the ball. He gets it over to Thomas. Thinks about it, goes over to Gatewood instead. He's going to try to penetrate, force up a shot off the front of the rim. No. Henderson comes up with a putback. And Ferndale starts out the second quarter in much better fashion. Now they apply some pressure again. Freed inbounds to Shoulders. Now he's got it again with Thomas guarding him. Runs into a little bit of a trap. Gets it up to Vanderrijk over the timeline. Cross court to Shoulders. Back up top to Freed. Freed with Thomas checking him. Looking for the open man. Gets it on the side to Shoulders. Over to McLean. Going to look for Dayton up top. And back up top to Freed to set the offense up once again. Ferndale shutting off all penetration right now. Getting it to Vanderrijk. Back up top to Shoulders. Good defense by the Ferndale Eagles. And as Vanderrijk tries to go down low to Dayton, number 22, Jim Schaffner comes up and knocks it away. Good defense to open the second quarter by the Ferndale Eagles. Friedel inbound for the Bears. Up top to Shoulders. Looking to set up their motion offense. Bringing Dayton under to the baseline. Gets it to him. Open for the three-point opportunity. Misses at 0 for 3 from three-point land now for Vanderrijk, I should say. But Jeremy McLean comes up with the putback. Jarrett Stevens still on the bench with those 2 fouls. Inbound to Schaffner. He breaks the press with McLean all over him. Gets it across midcourt. And Shoulders almost knocks it away, but knocks it out of bounds instead. Now Burnside to inbound to Thomas. There's Freed checking him. Going to try to penetrate over left wing to Burnside. Down low to Henderson. He's got Dayton on him. Turns around. Tries to fire back to Burnside. He does recover the ball. Off the glass, no. McLean came up with the rebound, and I believe Burnside fouled him from behind. Well, they're going to call that foul on Henderson. I don't know where he was in the equation on that. See, Burnside missed the shot. And he was there, but it sure looked like Burnside committed the foul. Vanderrijk fires up a 2-point try this time and gets it to go. When you got a bad ankle like he has, it might be wise to take a little shorter shot because you don't have as much leg strength as you're used to having. Thomas turns it over. Shoulders comes up with it deep to Freed for the easy layup. Score now Berkley 21, Ferndale 8. Good defensive pressure by Berkley. Good awareness of Shoulders to hit Freed, who broke the minute he saw the turnover. Burnside with the ball looking to post up Henderson. Instead goes up top to Thomas. Thinks about the jump shot. Fires into the lane. Over to Schaffner. The ball knocked out of bounds by Dayton off his leg. Ball remains Ferndale's. Andre Watkins into the game now. Junior for Ferndale. 6'3", 175 pounds. And Rodney Eddy, freshman, comes back into the game for Berkley, along with Eric Bishop. Amar Hermiz also returns for Ferndale. Schaffner looking to inbound the ball, finally gets it into Gatewood. The ball will remain Ferndale's. Both teams playing excellent pressure defense. Full court. Now Schaffner to inbound from the sideline, gets it up top to Gatewood. He looks to go inside, instead gets it over to Watkins, back up top to Gatewood. Going to probably send it over to Hermiz. No, he's got Shoulders checking him. Now he gets it to Watkins again with Vanderrijk on him. Hermiz tries to penetrate off the glass. No, rebound on number 30, Rodney Eddy, the freshman, to Dayton, up to Vanderrijk for the easy layup. And Ferndale breaking off a made basket, gets it to Hermiz. 360 in the lane, no. Bishop comes up with the rebound. Vanderrijk going to try to run the fast break with that bad ankle. Gets it over his shoulders, and the ball is swatted by number 21, Tom Henderson. Up to Hermiz. Great pass behind the back to Gatewood. Doesn't get the shot to go, but does draw the foul. couple of great plays in transition for the Ferndale Eagles, and Ferndale's going to call a timeout right now. I think they're wondering how they can be playing so well. As you see this behind-the-back pass from Hermes to Gatewood, and the foul by Bishop. You know, Ferndale's just playing tremendous right now, and they're not able to cut into this lead at all. And I think they're going to try to find out what it is that's going wrong. In the meantime, Berkley, I think, knows that they might been getting a little lucky. We're going to go down to the Berkley huddle right now.
Just make sure you get to outlets, but we got lots of transition opportunities here, okay? Hustle back after transition or anytime they beat you under press. Hustle back, nothing easy here. Doing a nice job on defense. As long as they are guard-to-guard defensively, don't be chasing that guard out there. I want you to drop inside and help. All inside help on the off guard. Got it? Nice rebound. Lock out and kick it out. It's going to be arc right now. Move the ball. Get to the middle.
Next fall, TCI continues its commitment to high school sports. Join us in September for the high school football game of the week on TCI Sports. We have, we think, the best cable sports coverage in the state. Who knows, maybe Pat will even schedule a Birmingham C home game against somebody other than Troy. And Berkley, what's kept them with such a substantial lead this quarter, they're 4 for 6 shooting. Ferndale, 1 for 4 from the field. They've done basically everything right except putting the ball in the basket. They are going to get a shot at 2 free throws right now. James Gatewood at the line. In the score, Berkley 23, Ferndale 8, as Gatewood gets the first one to go. And the Eagles finally have a shot at breaking double figures on their first free throw attempt of the game after Berkley had been to the line so many times in the first quarter. And Gatewood goes 2 for 2, and the score is now 23-10 Berkley. Rodney Eddy with a turnover on the long inbound pass. And Ferndale decides to hold up the fast break, get it up top to Hermes, and run the offense. Give and go to Gatewood off the glass. No defensive pressure applied by Vandereyck, but Ferndale comes up with the ball again. Gatewood to bring it up top. Over to Hermes. Now to Jones. He's looking to go inside, going to send it back up to Gatewood instead. Got Watkins trying to post up inside. Now he's got Henderson trying to post up as well. Now they go back up top to Gatewood with Rhodes checking in. Vandereyck now on Jones. To Hermes, fires up a long three-pointer, no good. Bishop with the rebound. And they're going to get it into Rodney Eddy's hands and let him try to run the offense. Over to Rhodes. Looks to go down low to Dayton. Instead goes across to Eddy, over to Vandereyck. Got Rhodes open underneath. Watkins recovers to the check, and the ball goes off the glass. No good to Hermes. Hermes to Jones. Thinks about the three-point opportunity. Goes back to Hermes again. Now to Jones with Vandereyck on him. Loose ball. Finally goes off of Rodney Eddy of Berkley. And Ferndale will retain possession. And mass substitutions now for both teams. See Rodney Eddy sitting down. Kevin Dayton sitting down. You see the replay here. Mad scramble for the ball as Hermes tries to penetrate. Eddy had just been knocked down in the key. And Vandereyck almost came up with the loose ball. And the official obviously had a better view than we did. Ballard fires off the glass, no good. Henderson can't get the putback. Hoppy came up with the rebound, but it was Vandereyck who knocked it out of bounds. Ferndale ball once again. And the refs telling both teams to take it easy as they both try to pack it inside. Nobody wants to give any ground. There still seems to be mass confusion down there. Hoppy looking to inbound it to somebody, finally gets it to Gatewood. He takes it into the key, fires it in. A 13-foot shot inside the key for Gatewood, and the score is now Berkley 23, Ferndale 12. Freed tries to break the token pressure applied by Ferndale, gets it over midcourt, thinks about going to Vandereyck, instead goes up to Shorters. Now Shorters gets it back, and Hermiz knocks it out of bounds. Both teams just knocking at the ball all the time. It's been real hard for both of them to get their passes inside. Vandereyck inbounding up top to Freed. Got Gatewood all over him. Looks to go left side. He's got Vandereyck under for an easy layup. Doesn't get that. Shorters down. Gets fouled from behind by number 52, Reggie Ballard. And Shorters will go back to the line. Mentioned earlier, the guy's got a knack for getting himself to the free throw line. There you see Freed spots Vandereyck on a flash cut. Doesn't get the layup to go. Shorters comes in, uses his quickness to get the rebound, and gets fouled on the putback from behind. And Kevin Dayton comes back in the game. They're going to give Vandereyck a rest. You got to be careful with Vandereyck because of that ankle. You don't want him to play too many minutes tonight, especially with the districts coming up next week, as you see Shorters make the first free throw. Shows little, if any, effect from those knee surgeries he had earlier. Doesn't get the second one to fall, though, and Ferndale's going to bring it up. Hermes with the ball with Freed checking him. Looks to penetrate, now goes over to Gatewood, thinks about the three-point shot, fires it up off the front of the rim. No, Hermes with the rebound, underneath the hoppy off the glass, and good. They're going to try to break the press with a long inbound. They get it to Dayton. Don't know if that's the smartest thing in the world to do, but it works. Now they get it back up to Freed, over to Dayton. Looking to go up top to McLean now, and 21 Henderson comes up with the steal, and an intentional foul by Jeremy McLean. And probably a good call, definitely a good call, actually. McLean realizing he's not as quick as Henderson, comes from behind. You'll see it right here. And isn't able to stop the shot without the intentional foul. And the main reason they do that is he fouled his left hand while he was shooting with the right. And the official interpretation is that he wasn't attempting to go for the ball. So Henderson will get 2 shots. Misses the first to get one more shot at the line, and then Ferndale will get possession of the ball. And both teams are jawing at each other at midcourt. And I think the refs, and one of the referees is going over there to break it up. And it's been such a physical game already, as Henderson does make the second foul shot. Things could get out of hand here before this game's over. Now it'll be Ferndale's ball. See the score, Berkley 24, Ferndale 15. Hoppy with the inbound pass to Henderson off the back of the glass. No, rebound tapped by Shorters to Freed. He's going to lead the break. Goes under to Tourette. He loses it out of bounds, and it's Ferndale's ball. And turnovers still plaguing both teams. See, Freed gets Tourette wide open, right in his hands, and he just loses it out of bounds. Now Tourette trying to make up for that with some real good defensive pressure applied to Hermes as he brings it over midcourt. And this time, we're going to get a foul called, I believe, on McLean again. And it is. Neither team in the bonus yet. And we'd mentioned turnovers before. In this quarter, Berkley has 4. Ferndale has cut it down to only 1 after having 12 in the first quarter. Almost came up with their second turnover, but instead Hermes gets it underneath to Henderson, who can't get it to go. Dayton comes up with the loose ball rebound. Hermes checking him. He goes back up top to Freed. Over to Tourette. Now to thinking about Shorters instead to Freed. Dayton with Hoppy checking him. Freed open for the three-point shot. Now brings it up top. Minute 15 left in the first half. Freed on the cut, no basket. Offensive foul on the screen set by Jeremy McLean, and he's picked up 3 fouls in a hurry here in the second quarter.
Number 55.
We see Dayton, he gets Freed cutting. Gets it off the glass, and it goes, but it won't count because Jeremy McLean came up with his 3rd foul. And they're going to bring Eric Bishop in off the bench. Jeremy McLean, not their usual starting center. We mentioned earlier Fred Rice out with the flu tonight. And Ferndale tries to break the press with a long bomb of their own with similar results to Berkley's turnover. And that's, but again, only the second turnover for Ferndale in the second quarter. And Ferndale to apply pressure to Berkley as well. And both teams doing the very same thing, trying to go deep. Hoppy comes up with the loose ball, and we're going to get a foul on Charette, an intentional foul. Very good call. Grabbed Henderson from behind, just yanked his jersey. I don't know what was going on the floor when they knocked each other down, but you can't just grab a guy's jersey in front of the referee. You see them both tangle up on the long inbound pass. Henderson's going to knock the ball over to Hoppy. I don't know if the replay is going to see it. Right there, Charette's tackling him. That's not where the foul was called. At about the point you're looking at now, he grabbed his jersey, and that's where they called the foul. Henderson at the line for 2 shots, and once again, Ferndale will get the ball. But you got to convert those free throws, and Ferndale hasn't been able to do it. Henderson gets one more. Misses that one off the front of the rim. Ferndale does retain possession of the ball. You see, I believe Charette, young man who just committed that foul, going to the locker room with one of the assistant coaches, may be injured on that play. He did look like he was aching a little bit when he hit the ground. He could have hurt his wrist or something. Hermans thinks about firing up a double pump shot. Instead goes to Hoppy, turnaround jumper good. Hoppy, one of their better outside shooters, hasn't really had an opportunity tonight. Does get that one to go, and it's a 7-point game. 50 seconds left in the first half. Freed trying to break pressure. Picks up the dribble, gets it across midcourt to Shorter. Spin move, fires it off the back of the rim. No. And this rebound comes on the ground to Henderson, who outlets it. Finally get it to Hermes, misses a 3-point try. And that one went off Gatewood's hand. A lot of frantic action here, not resulting in a lot of points. This time, Freed doesn't go deep with it, but I think we're going to get either a technical foul or a warning for Gatewood crossing the baseline before the inbound was made. And it is just a warning. The next time that happens, it'll be a technical foul. Gatewood, the defender, had stepped over the out-of-bounds line before Freed had passed the ball in. This time, Freed thinks about going deep, instead comes back to Dayton. Now Freed's got it with Gatewood on him, trying to break pressure. Trying not to pick up the dribble, finally does, gets it to Rodney Eddy. Over to Bishop, who loses the ball out of bounds and goes flying into the crowd and takes a seat in the stands. And decides to come back and play some more basketball. 18 seconds left in the first half. Ferndale ball, they're gonna inbound. Once again, getting pressure from Berkley, and they're gonna think about going deep. Instead, they go to Hermes, who's gonna bring it over midcourt and set up probably for the last shot of the half. Hoppy gets the ball, goes baseline on Shorters off the glass, and good. No call either way with the foul. Freed with the long inbound pass over Dayton's head as the buzzer sounds. And at the end of the first half, the score, the Berkley Bears 24, the Ferndale Eagles 19. After what started out to be apparently a game that was going to be totally dominated by Berkley, Ferndale's done a good job of coming back, mostly with their defense and better control of the ball in the second quarter. Once again, the score, Berkley 24, Ferndale 19. We'll be right back with some stats after this.
In some cultures, boys endure dangerous rituals to prove they're men, like forging woodland animals out of tempered steel.
Funny.
Or performing solemn recitals at horrifyingly high altitudes. Thankfully, proving you're a man here in America is much easier. Just go to a post office and register with Selective Service when you turn 18. Yes, it's quick, it's easy, and it's the law. Best of all, you won't have to do this.
She calls out to the man on the street. Sir, can you help me?
There is help
help for thousands of people with disabilities who are homeless. If you work with an organization that helps the homeless, you should know about SSI. SSI means monthly cash payments, food stamps, and medical benefits. SSI means help for the homeless. To find out more about SSI, contact Social Security.
And we're back, about ready to start the second half of tonight's game with the Ferndale Eagles and the Berkley Bears. Berkley on top 24-19. Good job of coming back, though, by Ferndale in the second quarter. See, neither team shooting the ball well at all. Offensive rebounds have been very important. Free throws, Ferndale finally got to the line in the second quarter. Turnovers are a big story in that Ferndale had 12 after the first quarter. Once they were able to hold on to the basketball, they were able to make this a basketball game once again. One thing to watch for in the second half, though, is tempers seem to be flaring up quite a bit in the first half, and it could carry over. They also had a long halftime due to a parents' night ceremony here. I think both teams were anxious to get out and play. See some of the Berkley faithful who made the long trek over here to Ferndale on a school night, no less. And Ferndale's going to bring Jarrett Stevens out. He hasn't played since about the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. And he had 2 fouls at that point, and they never put him back in the game. This is a guy who averages 22.1 points per game, 4th best in Oakland County. Is definitely the best player on that team. In fact, considered by most to be the best basketball player in all of Oakland County, regardless of class. And he hasn't done anything yet because of the foul trouble. And with Ferndale only down by 5, that's actually got to be a good sign for them. Berkley will inbound the ball at midcourt to open the second half. The 24, Ryan Freed looks to get it to Shoulders. Instead goes to the backcourt to Vandereyck, and he's going to have to bring it over the timeline. Vandereyck over to Shoulders. Shoulders looking for Freed underneath. Instead goes to McLean. Over to Vandereyck. Fires up a 3-point try again, in and out. Hasn't been able to get that to fall yet, but Shoulders with the offensive rebound. Doesn't get it, but Vandereyck with the stick back, and it's 26-19. That ankle has affected him, and you can see if we can get a shot at him. He's limping up and down the floor right now, and he just tripped over somebody. Not with his ankle. Right away, though, Ferndale goes down low to Jarrett Stevens in the low post. He gets it off the glass to go and draws the foul. That foul was on Kevin Dayton. You see Dayton comes over to help from the weak side, fouls Stevens, and he uses his strength and size to force it off the glass and in. His first 2 points of the game, and now he's at the free throw line trying to cut this lead to 4, and Steve Rhodes is not happy with that. Stevens does get the free throw. The score now, Berkley 26, Ferndale 22. And Ferndale again, as they did in the first half, applying pressure on the inbound. Freed trying to shake Burnside, bring it over timeline. Looks to go to Dayton on the cutter. He doesn't make the cut, but the ball bounces off of Henderson's foot, and the ball remains Berkley's. Freed once again to inbound the ball. Looks to go underneath to Dayton. Does get it to him with Stevens on him. Fires up a short hook. Can't go. Stevens with the rebound. They're going to try and get Stevens that 3rd foul as soon as they can, get him back out of the game. Hermes with the ball with Shoulders checking in. Goes over to Burnside. They're looking to post up Henderson. They go underneath. He doesn't get to the ball, and Jeremy McLean comes up with it. I don't think Henderson thought the pass was coming to him. Shoulders now has the ball. He picks up his dribble and goes over to the right to Freed. He looks to Dayton. Doesn't make the cut. Now Freed picks up his dribble, goes back up top to Shoulders, now over to the left side to Vandereyck. Vandereyck to McLean, now to Shoulders with Hermes checking in, back up to Dayton. Now to McLean, he's got Shoulders posting up the much smaller Hermes. And once again, Freed tries to get to a cutting Dayton, and the play just isn't there. That's 2 times in a row. The first time Berkley lucked out with the ball bouncing off a Ferndale player. This time no such luck. A turnover again for Berkley. And Ferndale goes with the long inbound off the pressure, and Hoppy turned it over as he fell down after catching the pass. Dayton Dayton turned the ball over in the key. Burnside came up with it, but when he got up with the ball, they called a travel. If you're on the ground with the basketball, you cannot come up with it, even if you are dribbling, and that's what he did. Here you see Hoppy come down with the ball after the long pass, gets over Van der Eyck and just loses his balance and loses the ball at the same time. Freed trying to inbound, goes up top to McLean, now back to Freed. Burnside applying some pressure. Freed now tries to take him down low. Burnside comes up with a steal, but he steps out of bounds with the ball. Good defense there. And just like the first half, defense remains the story of tonight's game. Freed inbounds to Dayton. He goes off the glass and gets it to go. 28 for Berkley to Ferndale's 22. Now Hoppy inbounds to Burnside. He brings it over midcourt, over to Stevens. He comes underneath for an easy lay in 28-24 Ferndale, and Jarrett Stevens is starting to get things going. Almost an inbound violation by Freed. He nearly stepped over the line. Shorters almost gets his pocket picked from behind. Van der Eyck comes up with the save, though. Now he's got Hoppy checking him. Back over to the left wing to Shorters. Now up top to McLean, over to Van der Eyck. Tries to force it underneath the Shorters. It's not there. Hermes comes up with the loose ball. He goes over for Hoppy, turns it over. Now Shorters has the ball after Van der Eyck came up with a steal. Freed to Shorters, back to Freed. Shorters again off the glass, no good. Hermes comes up with a loose rebound. Gets it to Stevens. He forces it under the baseline, throws up kind of a wild finger roll, but Henderson's able to come up with the rebound. Now Hoppy forces up a 14-footer short. And Stevens can't get the putback. Hoppy with the third try, and finally, Ferndale comes up with the basket. And suddenly we have a 2-point game. Berkley 28, Ferndale 26, and Berkley wants a timeout. Again, at one point, this game was, I believe, 13-2. And Ferndale has come back in a strong way, and with Jarrett Stevens finally getting things going, they're doing things right, and I think Don McNeil wants them to just keep doing what they've been doing throughout this third quarter. We're going to go down there and hear what he has to say.
Yeah, we want the ball dribbled up and we're in a fast break. You got three people in front of you wide open. Hoppy had a layup. If you was dribbling, he had a good lane. You waited to try to look him off. Van der Eyck Sr. stepped up. I told you about that. You don't have to be a fast as pass. You got right here. Here's Hoppy. Here's Van der Eyck. All you do is throwing the ball, you got a layup. You dribble it up and they did it right to him. Now I want you hustling, but I can't have you out there if you're going to do what you want to do. We stand right in overall. Stay right in overall on offense. Look for Jared on that no post. Guard. If you can, go guard the forward. Don't go guard the guard. So we can get the ball here and get Jared for excellent. Let's go. 40-40. And Jared ain't over. Kid ain't over though. Forget that.
Here you see Hoppy comes up for a shot that goes off the front of the rim. Stevens can't get the putback to go. And Hoppy finally comes up with a loose ball after both teams batted around and gets the shot to go. And that's what got us to 28-26. And now Ferndale, as always, applying pressure on the inbound. Rhodes into the game, tries to break the pressure with Gatewood checking him, gets it over the timeline. He's got Shorters open and can't see him as Burnside applies pressure. Now Dayton comes up with a loose ball. Gatewood from behind, though, knocks it out of bounds, and the ball remains Berkley's. I tell you, the defense is probably the most surprising thing tonight. If you look at the stats in the Oakland press, Ferndale, as you see the replay here, get tied up. Ferndale is number 9 offensive team in Oakland County, Berkley number 16. Neither team ranked as high as 20th in defense, yet both teams playing much superior defense to their offense. As once again, Berkley comes up with a loose ball off a missed shot. And they get the ball back up top to Freed to reload the offense. He's already kicked his dribble up. He tries to force it into Shorters, and Hoppy knocks it away. Freed comes up with it again. Tries to force it into the middle, gets it to Shorters for the easy layup off the glass. Can't get it to go. Bishop misses the putback, gets another shot at it, can't get that to go. Freed with a miss, and I think Jarrett Stevens just got his third foul. Bishop came up for yet another try after that, and Stevens bumped into him. And he's got 3 fouls. Might not have to pull him out after that. As you see, Shorters missed the easy layup. Bishop missed the putback, and you see a little bit of a scramble coming up here. Misses again, and right about now, I think you're going to see Jarrett Stevens come in and hit Shorters on the back, and that's his third foul. But Berkley turns it over after the inbound, and Jarrett Stevens has it. Fires it in, and the foul. What a shot by Jarrett Stevens. James Shorters mugged him. Ball somehow found the basket, and we have a tie game at 28, and Jarrett Stevens going to the line. Take a look at this. He goes up strong to the hole. Shorters comes under to get the foul him. Grabs both hands. Stevens just flings it up and it goes in. And once again, players from both teams are talking to each other as they stand around the key. Stevens can't get the free throw to go. Dayton comes up with the rebound, and Hoppy's going to stick on him. And we're going to get a foul called on Henderson, Ferndale, trying to force the turnover by Berkley. Some substitution coming in for Ferndale, number 52, Reggie Ballard. He's going to replace Jarrett Stevens. They might try to ride this tie out as long as they can and keep Stevens on the bench with those 3 fouls, but you can bet that if Berkley starts to pull away, Jarrett Stevens will be right back in the game. Freed with the ball. Burnside checking him over to Dayton, now to Rhodes. Back over to Bishop, now to Dayton, underneath to Rhodes. And I think they're going to call the offensive foul, and they do. Henderson takes the charge. And every time there's some sort of contact, guys from each team are jawing at each other, and well, Jarrett Stevens' rest is short-lived. He's going to come right back in now. See Rhodes with the ball. He's going to try to force it inside right about, well, he doesn't have the ball yet now. Now they got the ball to Dayton. Rhodes on the cutter. Might be a little acting job there by Henderson, but he got the offensive foul call. Ferndale ball. Score tied at 28. Token pressure applied by Berkley. Gatewood brings the ball over mid-court line. Gets it to Hoppy on the wing. Now he apparently doesn't get fouled by Shorters, and they're both going at each other, and they're going to call it on Shorters. And getting kind of old the way both teams are yelling at each other out there. They ought to just play basketball finally, but apparently they're going to call that foul on Shorters as both guys were pounding on each other. They call the foul right there on Shorters throwing that elbow, and you see Hoppy starting to talk to him a little bit. I think the ref's telling Hoppy right now that's fine, but you might get that call next time. I don't think Steve Rhodes was real happy with that call either. Hoppy inbounds and gets it right back. Now up to Burnside, fires up the three. No. Hoppy with the rebound, gets it to go. And for the first time tonight, Ferndale has the lead, 30-28. And what killed Ferndale early in the first half is killing Berkley early in the second half. Turnovers as Berkley turns it over again. It'll be Ferndale's ball after this Berkley timeout. And they've got to be thinking about putting Eric Vandereyck back in, bad ankle or not. As they need somebody that can hit from outside. There's just too much congestion underneath. We're going to go down to the Berkley huddle and see what Steve Rhodes has to say to his guys. Well, you see both coaches huddled with the officials at midcourt, and I don't think anybody doubts what's being talked about there. The referees realize that there's a fight waiting to happen, and I think Coach Steve Rhodes is going to go talk to his guys about that right now.
And they're going to be out of the tournament next week. So play hard and protect the basketball. Look, anybody can bring the ball up. We don't always have to get it back. Relax, bring it up. We got to float people on the wings. You can never go down the floor and turn your back on the ball. We got too much trouble down here. Take the ball diagonally, straight to the corner and across. And attack, all right? We're showing offense right now. Got to have good movement. Got to block out down here. Give backside help to Stevens. Got it? 1, 2, 3, defense.
Watch the Oakland Press Perspective every Friday at 8:30. Neil Monroe, the Oakland Press chief editor, hosts this program. Watch it Friday at 8:30 on Channel 63. At the beginning, you might not have heard everything that Steve Rhodes was saying. You get ejected for fighting. I think it's a 2-game suspension, and he was pointing out that if you get a 2-game suspension now, you miss the first game of the state tournament. And off the inbound, Jarrett Stevens with the jump hook, and he is definitely heated up in the second half. And it's a 4-point lead for Ferndale, 32-28. Freed brings it over midcourt. He's going to look for Bishop down low. He's not there. They're going to call a foul there on James Gatewood, and I think you're going to see for most of the rest of this game everything being called by these officials just because it's come so close to getting out of hand. And it's really not the officials' fault. They haven't been, as they say, letting them play. It's just that both teams have been talking to each other so much that they've worked their tempers up, and there's something ready to happen. Freed inbounds to Shorters. He takes it right through the middle of the key, gets it off the glass, doesn't get it to go, and there was a foul that wasn't called. I spoke too soon. Burnside back to Hoppy, now to Gatewood, underneath double pump of block by Dayton. He comes up with the loose ball, outlets to Shorters. He's all by himself, and he's got Ballard behind him. Scares him. And Shorters comes up with the loose ball rebound, kind of shaky on that call. He might have been out of bounds when he picked the ball up, but he gets the layup to go, and it's 32-30. And the pace has definitely picked up a little bit right now. Hoppy now trying to force it inside with Freed checking in. That foul's going to be called on Freed before the shot. We're going to take a look at what happened here. Shorters has Ballard beaten. Ballard just stomps and screams at him, and that's enough to shock anybody, especially at that age. Now Shorters right here jumps in and catches it before he had ever put a foot down inbounds. Real shaky. That might not have been the right call by the officials, but they let it go. They count the basket, and it's 32-30. Ferndale this quarter shooting 6 for 9, 67%. Berkley 3 out of 14, 21%. And Ferndale now 70% as Jarrett Stevens again off the glass. And he has come to life in the second half. Now Dayton's going to try to bring it over midcourt. Tries to force it, and Hoppy comes up with the steal. Freed's going to come in, try to stop the easy layup. He does. Burnside go with the rebound, doesn't get it to go, and Rhodes comes up with the loose ball. Burnside comes in and steals it. Stevens tries to come up with the loose ball rebound, and it's out of bounds, I believe, off Jarrett Stevens. And it is. Berkley ball once again. You don't see this much contact in most football games. See Jarrett Stevens missing the putback. Burnside comes up, fires up a miss. I believe he gets another attempt coming up right here as he steals the ball from Rhodes. And here's where Jarrett Stevens will go after the ball and lose it out of bounds in a mad scramble with Jeremy McClain. Back to live action. Kevin Dayton bringing the ball over midcourt. James Gatewood checking him. Burnside coming from behind, stealing the ball. Blindside up to Stevens for the easy layup off the glass. He tried to dunk it, couldn't get it in, but does get the ball to go off the glass. Ferndale with their biggest lead of the night, 36-30. And Burnside again pressuring Freed as he tries to bring the ball up the floor across midcourt. Burnside once again tries to pick his pocket from behind. This time the foul is called. Neither team in the bonus yet. Coming in now, replacing Sean Burnside, number 10, Mike Thomas for Ferndale. Off of the Berkley turnover, Jarrett Stevens almost with the dunk, but does get it off the glass. We'd mentioned Ferndale having something like 11 turnovers in the first quarter. Well, Berkley's got 13 turnovers here in the third quarter. Now Berkley to inbound the ball to the near sideline. Get it into number 32, Sean Locke, who's seeing action for the first time tonight. And once again, Berkley turns the ball over. 14 turnovers in the quarter. And the momentum has, to say the least, shifted. Thomas with the ball, now he gets it back to Gatewood. He's going to run the offense, go over to Henderson, looking to post up Jarrett Stevens. Instead, he gets it to Ballard. Over to Gatewood. He forces one up, doesn't get it to go, but does draw the contact from Ryan Freed, and he's going to the line for 2 shots. Number 11, James Gatewood. With the pump fake, you see Ballard take it inside, then kick it out. Gatewood beats his man to the hole. Freed comes over to help out on the jumper and fouls him. Prevents the basket, but does give him 2 shots as you see Schaffner coming in. Gatewood, the 5'10 senior, gets the first one to go, and it's 37-30 Ferndale. Minute and 8 left in the third quarter, and James Shoulders is returning to the lineup for Berkley. Haven't seen Eric Vanderwyk in quite a while. That ankle must be bothering him. They need his outside shooting right now, and apparently they realize there's no championship of any kind up for grabs in this game. It might be better to rest him and get him healthy for the district playoffs that begin next week. Rodney Eddy, the freshman, also comes in for Berkley as Gatewood shoots the second of the 2 free throws, gets this one to go as well. An 8-point lead for Ferndale. Eddy to inbound against Ferndale pressure. Gets it to Shoulders. He has Schaffner checking him. And a whistle away from the ball at the far end of the court. And they called that one on James Gatewood from Ferndale. I don't know what it was he was doing, but him and Chris Tourette were going at it. So the Berkley guys are trying to calm Tourette down as well. And they called the foul on Gatewood. Eddy inbounds it to Shoulders. He almost fell over the inbound line. Now to McLean. Back to Shoulders. Maybe playing for the last shot with 51 seconds left in the third quarter. Shoulders now tries to take it to the hole. Instead goes back up top to Tourette. He's got Thomas all over him. Thomas picks up the dribble, goes underneath the Dayton off the glass. That's the play they were trying to work earlier. Finally get it to work from the other side of the floor, and Dayton gets an easy layup. 38-32 Ferndale. 28 seconds left in the quarter. Gatewood with the ball up top. Picks up the dribble. He's going to have to get rid of it. Goes to Ballard. He drops it out of bounds. Sean Hoppy's going to come in off the bench for Ferndale for the final 19.2 seconds of this third quarter. Berkley ball, Rodney Eddy to inbound. Ferndale, of course, to apply the pressure again. Eddy looking for the open man, finally gets it to McLean, back into Eddy's hands, and he's going to get it over the timeline. Gatewood comes up with the steals. They look for Tourette. He goes up for the layup off the glass, can't get it. Sean Hoppy, though, with the putback, and it's 40-32 Ferndale. Tourette draws a foul with 1.4 seconds left. A very unnecessary foul committed by number 11, James Gatewood. Or it wasn't by Gatewood, I take that back, sorry, James. By Sean Hoppy, who had just made the layup. They weren't going to get any kind of good shot off. Now they will get to inbound it once again. It's not a penalty situation, but they will get to inbound the ball from midcourt and be able to probably get a shot off from their side of the floor. Eric Bishop, though, is going to come in for Dayton before the pass is inbounded. Now they're going to back Tourette up more to three-quarter court where he'll inbound the ball, which is where the foul actually occurred. Well, Henderson takes care of that as he intercepts the inbound pass, and at the end of the third quarter, quite a turnaround. It's the Ferndale Eagles 40, the Berkley Bears 32. As we mentioned earlier, the turnovers that killed Ferndale in the first half killed Berkley there in the third quarter. We're going to go down to the Ferndale huddle right now.
All fired up. Don't know what's going on. We got a total disarray. Continue to put the pressure on. Man-to-man all over the place. Let's get out and make it work. On offense right now. We got it straight just the way we need it. Go overload. Go guard to forward. Go through. Allow Jared to come get on that block, huh? Let's put him on the floor. Let's go. Team on three. 1, 2, 3. On the backside.
Join Jeffrey Miller on Transition, a half hour that deals with African American issues. Watch Transition Saturday at 10 p.m. on Channel 63. In that third quarter, Ferndale outscored Berkley 21-8 to get themselves an 8-point lead. After the Ferndale cheerleaders finish their routine, we're ready to start the fourth and final quarter. Ferndale to inbound the ball. Sean Hoppy at the near sideline, midcourt. Gets the ball to Thomas. Tries to take man to the hole. Instead, forcing it off the glass. No. Bishop comes up with the rebound. Number 20, Dwight Barksdale, applying good defensive pressure on that play. And Eddy gets the ball up to Barksdale. He goes up top to Bishop. Now back over to Eddie. He looks down low for Barksdale. He's not there. Goes back to McLean. Now to Bishop. Back up top to Shorters, who almost loses control but gets it back. They're going to reload the offense. Now Bishop up top. Back over to Barksdale. Now to Eddie on the right wing. He's going to bring it back up top and set the offense up. Bishop now at the top of the key over to Barksdale. Now Shorters looking to post down low. Finally in Barksdale's hand. Thinks about the 17-footer. No. Now they crisscross it over to Bishop. Driving layup attempt. No. Shorters gets the ball taken away from him off the rebound. Now to Stevens. Back to Henderson. Stevens. Give and go. Knocked away by McLean, but picked up by number 11, James Gatewood, and Ferndale's got the ball. Gatewood over to Henderson. He's looking to post up Stevens once again. Instead brings it up top to Thomas. Stevens trying to post Bishop up. Good defense applied by Eric Bishop, though. Gatewood with the ball, trying to bring it back up top with Rodney Eddy checking him. Get the ball to Hoppy on the wing. Can't get Jarrett Stevens open right now. And we may get an offensive foul on Ferndale. I think we did. No, it's on Berkley. It was on, I can't even tell you what it was on. It was on number 30, Rodney Eddy. And again, the officials telling both teams to knock it off. As you see Coach McNeil, probably not real pleased with all the pounding going on in there. And we are in a bonus situation now, so Henderson will get the 1-and-1. Henderson been to the line a few times. I think he's had the most free throw attempts today for the Ferndale Eagles. Trying to increase that 8-point lead. And he can't get it to go. Shorters comes up with the rebound, and he's going to lead the break. For one of the few times tonight, there is no pressure applied by Ferndale. Shorters picks up the dribble, though, and he's going to have to get rid of it. Eddie nearly travels. Sticks an elbow, though, into James Gatewood, and they call the offensive foul. That's about the third time we've seen that called tonight. Both teams have had it called. Refs have been pretty consistent with that. And then again, you see the replay here. He sticks an elbow right into his chest, and with the atmosphere that surrounded this game so far tonight and the way the intensity has increased, you know they're going to call that foul. And the referees want to stop the action again. And then give the ball to Hoppy to inbound it. He gets it to Gatewood. Looks for the open man. Nothing there. Back up to set up the offense. Now he's going to go baseline. Fires underneath to number 21, Henderson. He kisses it off the glass. A 10-point lead, 42-32 in favor of the Ferndale Eagles. Now Shorters with the ball, trying to force it up in a hurry. Nothing there. Forces it to McLean, looking for the give and go. It's not there. Bring it back up top to Shorters. He's going to set the offense up once again. Probably going to get a 5-second call if he doesn't do something soon. He does. Looks to spin on Hoppy, instead takes him baseline off the glass, blocked by Jarrett Stevens. He picks up the rebound, leads the fast break on his own. Little bit of everything. An alley-oop pass to Henderson off the glass and good. 44-32 Ferndale. And once again, the Berkley Bears need a timeout. A 12-point lead for the Ferndale Eagles with 5 minutes and 36 seconds left in this game. And take a look at this. Shorters thinks about going into the middle, instead takes it baseline, goes up. Stevens blocks the shot, comes up with the rebound. Going to lead the break like he's a guard. Sees Henderson coming from the weak side, fires up an alley-oop pass right to him off the glass and good. When you can run the fast break like that, you're going to beat a lot of teams. Ferndale, a very young team. Their record is a little deceptive. Most of their best players are juniors, with the exception of the sophomore, Jarrett Stevens. They will lose a few important players, but this team is gaining some valuable experience for next year. They should be one of the more powerful teams in the SMA. And all of a sudden, with a 12-point lead, people here at Ferndale have to be very enthused. And the Berkley Bears have to be wondering what happened. Second half scoring to this point, Ferndale 25, Berkley 8. Ryan Freed to inbound for Berkley. Ferndale again applying the press. Freed's going to try to bring it over with Hoppy checking him. Gets it over the timeline. Looks over to Dayton on the right wing, looking to post up down low. Instead gets it in the high post to McLean. He fires up a double pump. No, Shorters with the rebound. Turns off the glass and good. 44-34, a 10-point game. The long inbound pass, though, to Sean Hoppy goes off the glass. In and out, rebound to McLean. Shorters leads the break up to Freed. He's going to force it off the glass and good. 44-36, and it's an 8-point lead. And Ferndale is going to have to get under control real quick. All this momentum that they had is starting to slip away. Hermes with the ball over to Henderson. Looking to go probably up top to Burnside. He does. Back over to Hermes, trying to post up Hoppy. He's not there. Go instead to the high post to Stevens. Up top to Burnside. Fires up a three. No. Shoulders again with the rebound, playing a tremendous game tonight. Freed with the ball. Going to get picked from behind by Hermes. Does, but gets the ball back after kicks off a few players. Shoulders over to Dayton. Back up top to Freed. Burnside checking him. Looking to go left side to Dayton. That's not there. Instead goes over to Rodney Eddy. Eddy to McLean for the 15-foot jumper at the free throw line. Doesn't go. Hoppy with the rebound. And an official timeout, I believe. Hoppy took one in the mouth and he's bleeding. And they're going to take him over to the trainer and see what happened. No foul called on that, obviously, but there you see he took one right in the mouth. Probably going to pull him out, and they do. They're going to send Gatewood back into the game. And it'll be Ferndale's ball inbounding, I believe, underneath their own basket. You see Hoppy still hurting from that. And the trainers are going to look at him away from the bench. You see Freed takes it underneath, turns his back, and then fires it up with the right hand. Off the glass and good. Back to live action. Gatewood with the ball. Dayton checking him. Forces it inside. Dayton steals it from behind. Now he's got the ball back from Eddy. Looks to go baseline, and I think Jarrett Stevens just got his fourth foul, and he doesn't agree with it. And they're going to tell Jarrett to settle down because they can't afford to have anything else called on him that might get him out of the game. You're going to see right there, not a lot of contact, but his fourth foul nonetheless, and they're going to sit him down. I'm not sure that Jarrett Stevens actually touched him, right? Boy, he didn't touch him. He had good reason for being upset with that call. As physical as this game is, to call that rather inconsistent. But gets Kevin Dayton to the line for the 1-and-1. Here's the first, and he can't get it to go. Henderson comes up with a rebound over to Burnside, and Ferndale ball once again. They'll probably keep Stevens on the bench as long as they can, especially with an 8-point lead. Hermes with the ball now up top. Looking over to Gatewood. A little different offense now without the big man to post up down low. Instead, they might try to post up Ballard, but it's just not there. Hermes with the ball back over to Gatewood. Now to Burnside at the baseline. Brings it up to the wing, up top to Hermes. And they're going to take some time off this clock, I think. Ballard takes it into the key, back out to Burnside. He's got Henderson posting up and doesn't go to him. Instead, he goes to Hermes, fires up just inside the three-point line. Can't get to go, but Gatewood hustles down the rebound. Gatewood with the ball, and another turnover. They didn't call the foul there. They just called the turnovers. He dropped it out of bounds. And coming into the game for the first time since early in the first quarter is the freshman, number 23, Rashad Phillips for Ferndale, and James Shorter's coming back in for Berkley. Rashad Phillips, who had made a great end-to-end basket in the first quarter. We've mentioned before, a young 5', 305-pound freshman who's been quite a spark plug for the Eagles all season long. And he's going to check Freed, who's bringing the ball up court. Freed gets it over to Rhodes, who forces up a wild shot. Can't get it to go. Shorters comes up with a rebound. And somewhere in there was a foul, and we're going to see which foul the ref called. It should be on Shorters getting the rebound. You see Rhodes trying to take Burnside baseline, beats him, fires up a wild shot as he goes too far underneath. But right there, Shorters comes up with the rebound, and he's at the line shooting 1-and-1. Can't get the first one to go, but the rebound goes off Bullard's hands. Berkley's ball. Once again, the score, Ferndale 44, Berkley 36. 2 minutes and 47 seconds left. And apparently Berkley's going to give themselves one last shot, putting Vandereyk into the game for the first time, I believe, this half. Probably going to use him strictly for the three-point shot. Not going to do anything inside that might risk that injuring that ankle any further. And quickly they get it to Vandereyk outside the three-point circle, but it's not there for the shot. Instead, Kevin Dayton fires on the triple, doesn't get it, goes up in front of the rim. McLean with the rebound and the foul on James Gatewood. And he doesn't agree with it. It was incidental contact, but it did cause the trip. And in that case, you either have to call a travel on McLean or the foul on Gatewood. And since the travel's not McLean's fault, of course they're going to call a foul, which is the proper thing to do. Here you'll see it. McLean comes up with the ball, and right there he gets tripped by Gatewood. It is incidental, but it is a foul. And he's at the line shooting 1-on-1. Jeremy McLean, 6'3", 200 pounds. As we mentioned earlier, one of the better players on their football team, doing a fine job tonight filling in as the starting center. Done a lot of banging underneath, gotten some rebounds himself, and also freed up rebounds for other players like Shorters to come in and get it, as he would tangle people like Stevens up, get in position. Gets both free throws to go, and it's a 6-point game, 44-38, and now Berkley's starting to apply some pressure. Rashad Phillips breaks it. I can handle the ball for a freshman. And Ferndale's going to call a timeout with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. I think Coach McNeil realizes that right now they've got to hold on to this lead that they've worked so hard to get in. Berkley's starting to chip away at. We're going to go down low to the Berkley huddle right now and see what they're going to do to try to get themselves right back into this game.
RJ's on the point. Kevin's in the middle. Wing. Half-court trap. Now, I know you're tired. I spend a lot of energy. Okay? 6 down. We got plenty of time. If we get the ball back, you're double. All right? Good screens. Post. Point. Wing. If you get a good open, fine. Anything else? One shot fairly quickly. We got one timeout left. We'll use it on our next score. Score, call timeout. Go after him now. 1, 2, 3, defense.
This fall, TCI continues its commitment to high school sports. Join us this September for the high school football game of the week on TCI Sports. We have, we think, the best cable sports coverage in the state of Michigan. Ferndale to inbound the ball, get it to Rashad Phillips, the little 5'3" guard. And his height is a disadvantage there as he has to force it into coverage, and Henderson and Dayton and Shorters get into a tie-up, a held ball situation. And the arrow this time is pointing Berkley's way. There you see it's Dayton jumping on top and Shorters in there with Henderson. The arrow going Berkley's way, and they pull Rashad Phillips out for a defensive substitution right now. Because at 5'3", there's just not too many people he can check, and you know they're going to post him up if he stays in there, in spite of all his quickness. Dayton now with the ball looking to post up McLean down low on Stevens, going to try to foul him out as he comes back into the game. Instead, Dayton fires up a turnaround jumper, can't get it to go, and Burnside comes away with the rebound. Over to Hermes, he's going to bring it up. But James Shorters comes up with a steal as they inbound it across midcourt. Alley-oop to Shorters for three. Comes down, makes the basket, and as we had heard Steve Rhodes say during his last timeout, after our next basket, we're calling a timeout, and that's just what Berkley does. 1:55 left. Ferndale 44, Berkley 40. Berkley's last timeout. And Ferndale still trying to hold on to that lead. They've got Jarrett Stevens in there with 4 fouls. And Coach McNeil is going to tell these guys not to let this lead get away from them. We're going to go down there right now.
All right, they're going to find right away. Go right now. 13. And start it right. Get in the middle of the 2 guards. Go pick one and roll. 13. Let's go. Come on, team on 3, team on 3. 1, 2, 3. You got no more timeouts, fellas.
Last last thing you heard, they have no more timeouts left, so this is it for Berkley. Ferndale does have at least one timeout left, I believe. But they're going to have to hold on to this lead. They had gotten it up to a 12-point lead at one point, and Berkley has chipped away over the last 3 or 4 minutes here in the fourth quarter. The momentum has shifted quite a bit. I don't know if it's totally a Berkley's way, but they're at least back in the game. And again, Vandereyk is on the bench right now. They might be saving him for just offensive situations. They inbound to Stevens. He taps it right back to Burnside. Rashad Phillips in for the offensive situation. You're going to see a lot of offense-defense substituting right now throughout the rest of the game. Phillips underneath the Henderson off the glass and good. Foul not called on Shoulders, but it's a 46-40 lead for Ferndale with a minute 40 left. Shoulders now has the ball, fires up a three-pointer, can't get it to go. McLean chases down the rebound, gets it up top to Freed. He's going to drive, fire up a 15-footer from the free throw line, doesn't get it. Shoulders with the rebound off the glass and good, 46-42. No timeouts left once again for Berkley. Gatewood with the ball, tries to bring it up the middle of the floor, does. Now he goes over to Phillips, who has it, tries to penetrate, fires it underneath to Henderson off the glass and good, and Rashad Phillips, as he did in the first half, is providing an offensive spark for the Ferndale Eagles when they need it most. Rodney Eddy now, Berkley's freshman sensation, comes up with the ball himself, gets it over to Shoulders, and there's a foul on Gatewood. Should send Shoulders to the line for the 1-and-1. Here's the Eddy with the ball. Little bit of pressure, he gets the ball back, fires it. Right about now he's going to hit over the Shoulders, and this is where he gets hit right now by Gatewood. Couldn't really see the contact there, but he did put his body up on him, and he's at the line now for the 1-and-1. And Ferndale, I think, a little confused about the substitutions that they want to make. Only have 4 on the floor right now. And Carlos Griffin, number 14, comes in. A defensive stopper for him, an all-SMA quarterback and defensive back for the football team. The kind of guy you want in there playing defensive back. Shoulders at the line now for the 1-and-1. 59.1 seconds left in the game. He gets the first one to go, 48-43 Ferndale. Shoulders gets the bonus. That was a 59.1, not a 9.1. There you go. Gets the second to go, and once again, it's a 4-point game. Stevens inbounds to Rashad Phillips. Now Stevens with the ball, decides not to take it to the hole, back up top to Phillips. He uses his quickness underneath the Carlos Griffin, gets it blocked by Clayton. But Sean Burnside comes up with the rebound, and the foul this time committed, I believe, by Shoulders is going to send Rashad Phillips to the line for the 1-and-1. Great hustle by both teams in this last minute of play. And that, I believe, is the 4th foul on James Shoulders, and we've been talking all night about Ferndale's best player being in foul trouble. James Shoulders is Berkley's best player tonight, and with Eric Vandereyk 50% at best with that ankle, he's definitely the most valuable player tonight. Rashad Phillips at the line, littlest man on the floor, 5'3", front end of the 1-and-1, and he gets it to go. 49-44. Craig Rhodes comes in for Berkley. They're going to pull out the freshman Rodney Eddy. And Rashad Phillips, the 5'3", 105-pound freshman, who looks more like he's in about 5th grade, gets the bonus. And he does not play like he's in the 5th grade. 50-44 Ferndale, 44.6 seconds left. Freed being checked by Phillips, almost double dribbled. Phillips all over him, hawking the ball over to Dayton. Now Shoulders fires up the 3, and it's good. And it's a 50-47 game. If Berkley does lose tonight, it's not going to have anything to do with James Shoulders' effort. And Craig Rhodes commits the foul, and once again, they're going to send a little freshman to the line. And I know that's the smart thing to do in terms of experience, but the guy hasn't shown any nerves yet. I think he's beyond that at this point. And that was the first 3-pointer by either team tonight, that one that Shoulders just hit, making it a 50-47 game. Here you see Shoulders squares up, fires it in. A la Larry Bird. Rashad Phillips gets the first to go. referenced Larry Bird is because if you read Larry Bird's book, Drive, his autobiography, he talks about a piston ball boy who looked like Michael Cooper and he used to always make fun of and have a lot of fun with before and after games, and that was James Shorters, the Berkley player number 21, who was immortalized in that book and now immortalized on TCI cable. And Rashad Phillips 3 for 3 at the line tonight with the bonus here, looking to go 4 for 4, and he does hit the Peters roll, 52-47. And they're going to pull him out for defensive purposes and bring in Mike Thomas. And Berkley's going to inbound, 27.2 seconds left, a 5-point lead for Ferndale. They're going to have to get the ball down and get a shot up in a hurry. Freed with the ball, he's forcing it down the middle of the floor, no one guarding him, fires up a 2, gets the foul called by Thomas. The official under the basket did not make this call. The ref at midcourt came in long after the play. You'll see he gets fouled. The official with the same view as our camera does not call this. The official way back at midcourt does, and Freed's at the line for 2 shots, trying to cut the lead to 3. And it's probably the best thing other than a 3-pointer that Berkley could have had because it stops the clock as well. And Eddie comes in for Rhodes, as you see Freed, 6-foot junior captain of this team. And with quite a few superb senior players, it says something. First free throw, no. Yeah, that was a 2-shot foul. And they'll probably put some time back on that clock, I think. Apparently not, but he will get the second free throw. Even if he does get this, they'll still need 2 possessions to get a tie or a lead. Gets this one to go off the front of the rim and off the glass, and it's a 4-point game. Freed comes over right away and fouls Phillips. And for the 3rd time in the last minute or so, the 5'3" freshman is going to the free throw line. As you see, that's about as intentional of an unintentional foul as you're ever going to see. And that's number 30, Rodney Eddy, freshman for Berkley, and there's the freshman for Ferndale, Rashad Phillips, at the line for 1 and 1. And Ferndale will sub for Rashad Phillips if indeed he does make both free throws. Gets the first one to go, and this guy is 5 for 5 in crunch time. 18.1 seconds left. Ferndale 53, Berkley 48. Phillips again with the bonus, looking to go 6 for 6, and does. 8 points on the night for the young freshman. He sits down. Mike Thomas comes in for a defensive switch. 54-48. Berkley's going to need a 3-pointer, a quick stop, and another 3-pointer in 18.1 seconds. And again, they have no timeouts left. Freed with the ball, brings it up through pressure, looking over to Shorters. He's going to fire up the 3-pointer, gets it blocked by Henderson, picked up by Stevens, goes behind the back over midcourt, fires it way down to Carlos Griffin, over to Henderson, who's going to pull it back up. 3, 2, 1 second left in the game, and Ferndale comes up with the upset. A big come-from-behind victory for the Eagles, 54-48. Started out, looked like they weren't even going to be in the ballpark with these guys. Down 13-2 early in the game. Didn't get their second basket until there were 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and they came back with a strong second half, fueled by their defense and their rebounding, to upset the Berkley Bears, 54-48. As you see, a somewhat dejected Steve Rhodes walking off the floor, and there you see a very happy Don McNeil as his young guys lead the way, and he's got to feel real good about next season for the Ferndale Eagles. Once again, the final score, Ferndale 54, Berkley 48. We'll be right back with a look at some final stats after this on TCI.
Being blind shouldn't keep children in the dark. There's a special program run by Social Security to help children with disabilities whose families don't have much money. It's called SSI. And it means monthly cash benefits and often help with medical bills. To find out more, call any Social Security office and ask about SSI.
Hold on. The little dog loves to see which one, and I just ran away with the spoon. Hey, diddle, diddle.
More than 20 million people enjoy the safety and convenience of Social Security direct deposit. It also gives you more time for the more important things in life.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
You're very nice.
To sign up, call toll-free 1-800-SSA-1213.
And once again, the final score here at Ferndale, the Ferndale Eagles 54, the Berkley Bears 48. Big comeback for the Eagles after they started out so slowly, trailing 13-2. Neither team shot real well, but Ferndale did come back to get close to 50%. At the free throw line, both teams a little better than the average high school team would be. Only one three-pointer in the game, and that went for Berkley. Rebounds, again, pretty close. Berkley actually with the edge on the offense, but turnovers the big story. Ferndale had 12 in the first quarter. Berkley had 16 in the third quarter. And that was when they really fell apart, and Ferndale took the momentum and ran with it the rest of the night. And as you see, the leading scorer is James Shorters for Berkley with 19 points, including the only triple of the game, and Jarrett Stevens with 15 for Ferndale, all of them coming in the second half after he got into foul trouble early in the first quarter. We should also mention the freshman Rashad Phillips going 6 for 6 at the free throw line to seal the victory for Ferndale in the last minute and a half of the game. You see a happy Don McNeil, coach of the Ferndale Eagles, talking things over with friends and family. And the score by quarters tells you everything. Berkley 15-6 in the first quarter, and in the middle two quarters they disappeared and Ferndale came to life. And they just stayed consistent the rest of the way. Berkley finally got it back again in the fourth quarter, but it was too little too late, as they say. And Ferndale was able to hold on and get the upset. And going with a little momentum into the state playoffs, and Berkley has to be concerned with the injury to Eric Vander Eyck and trying to get themselves some momentum as they start out the tournament Monday night. And they host their district. We'd like to remind you at this time that next fall we'll be back with high school football here on TCI. Join us in September for the high school football game of the week here on TCI Sports, the best cable sports coverage in the state. And we'd like to remind you also to look in April for the Oakland County Slam Dunk and Three-Point Championship from Troy High School or Troy Athens or somewhere in Troy. And we'll be bringing that to you, and that's always a very exciting event here on TCI. Once again, we want to remind you of the final score. The Ferndale Eagles 54, the Berkley Bears 48. For Pat Collar and all the crew, I'm Joe Abramson saying good night. And at this time, we'd like to show you the cast and crew and all the crazies who bring high school basketball to you throughout the winter here at TCI.
Audio!
Rolls in the ball.
What's wrong, Audio? Tell me! Kyron! Oh, my gosh! What are you doing back there?
Oh, I give up.